Welcome to another episode of the SportsBros podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the Money Man Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the SportsBros. Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddy Kool, a.k.a. the HOC Eddy, your favorite podcast, none other than the Sports Bros podcast. Well, I want to apologize to our viewers last week who had to see me looking like something written hard and put away wet because I had just got off of work. I was in here with a hoodie and some of the world's worst lighting known to man. I've made a few videos in my time and I should know better, but guess what? You learn from your mistakes. It's all a part of life. And we grow, we evolve, we keep on going, we could keep on pushing. And apparently last week I missed a memo about wearing button-ups, but I came prepared this time. I'm in my wonderful garnet-colored button-up. Shout out to B-Live and Clemson. But anyways, this is episode number 97 of the Sports Bros podcast. And like last week, we're going to wave to you once again, because for the second consecutive week in a row, you can see us again via Zoom. You can listen to us on where your podcasts are available, and you can see us once again on Zoom and also on our YouTube channel. Well, enough of me running my mouth, because I'm pretty sure y'all sick of hearing that, because I am. I have two of the best co-hosts in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? This be your boy once again, episode 97, man. We're so close, so very close. And I would also like to apologize to our viewers, because Eddy Kool thought he was going to get enough reflection off of his forehead to give lighting to the video.
Wow. Wow.
But you know what? I digress. My bad. Let's just go ahead and get to the sports. You can introduce that other guy on the show as well.
An unprovoked attack early.
You get your mic muted for that, but I'm not gonna be that Tony Yelly. I'm not gonna do you. Not this time. But you anyways. And introducing the other guy, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, the one, the only, the illest mashed potato slanger, chicken finger server, this side of the Mississippi, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, none other than the one, the only, the Money Man, Scotty D.
Never fear, eye candy is here. But Eddy, I'm not holding that button down thing against you next week. I'm not wearing that every week. I'm gonna tell you. You're gonna see me some weeks in here in a t-shirt or maybe shirtless. I give you all something to look forward to.
Oh, no.
Once the weather changes, you can see here in Washington, Pennsylvania, it's another just balmy day here. I think temperatures reach a high of 30 today. But once we get up into this high temperature, I may not even wear a shirt doing this. I'm doing this from the comfort of my own home. So again, I just give you all something to look forward to.
No, we're not looking forward to that at all. Me and Eddy Kool were working on some things with Zoom. You show up on this shirtless, he will take you off the video.
I get edited out from that.
Yeah, immediately.
Audio only. It'll be audio only. That's
right. So, like you.
Yeah, I still got my. I gained the COVID-19 last year, so still have to work that off a little bit.
That's why you're only getting this half. You're not getting anything below, because it's a lot going on down there. But I digress. Eddy Kool, Amtrak this thing. Let's get it.
Yep.
Yeah, let's talk sports.
Yep, I got it. Get it together. Yeah, B-Live, you're right. I got to Amtrak this thing. We cutting up already. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move on into the NFL news and notes. As we stated once before, yes, the play on the field stops, but the behind-the-scenes stuff, the transactions, the signings, the cuts, releases, all that good stuff, it always keeps on going. And this past week, the Philadelphia Eagles have agreed to trade the number 2 pick of the 2016 draft, Carson Wentz, to the Indianapolis Colts for a 2021 third-round pick and a conditional 2022 second-round pick that can turn into a first, as reported by Jason La Canfora of CBS Sports. And with that being said, fellas, with Carson Wentz gone and in Indy now, which fan base seems to be the happiest? Is it the Colts or is it the Eagles? Be live. We're gonna start with you first.
Well, this is a tough question for a number of reasons because I don't like the Eagles fans. I think they're some of the worst. I think they're the second worst fans to leave, second only to the Cowboys. Yeah, I already said it, and you knew where I was going with this. But I digress. As far as the Eagles fans, it just depends on how much they know. The salary cap hit that the Eagles are facing right now is the second worst in the league for them to win 5 games last year. And a lot of that was because of Carson Wentz. Now, they still take a cap hit this year because of the way the trade was structured. So the Eagles will not be making too many plays when it comes to free agency. But I think that Eagles fans going to be just a little bit happier because Carson Wentz was not the most consistent the past couple years. He did get them to the playoffs, but then again, I think in the Eagles fans that Nick Foles won that Super Bowl for him. So the Eagle fans were a little here and there about Carson Wentz to start with. With the Colts, they get the heir apparent, so to speak. So maybe they're happy. And for the price of it, just a second round and a third round draft pick for a quarterback that I think he still has somewhat of an upside. So I'm at a impasse right now. I'm not quite sure, but I think the Colts they're going to be the winners of this outcome. What do you think, Scotty D?
I think the happiest fan base was the Chicago Bears because they were afraid they were getting him. And that would have been another crazy situation if he had gone to Chicago where quarterbacks go to die and been up there either with Foles or replacing Foles again. Carson Wentz, if you look at his career, had really one very good season. The others, obviously this past one was terrible. A lot of it, I think, had to do with his confidence being completely shot. I don't think for him there was a better place to go than where he went because he's going to be with Reich. He's going to be comfortable. Reich's comfortable with him and trusts him. I think the Colts fans, I think they got to be kind of happy because they're going to get, if they get what Reich and him were building in Philly, if they continue to build on that, they're going to have a good quarterback. I just think in the AFC, that's going to be a problem because I don't think he's getting them past the Chiefs or Bills going forward the next couple of years. The Eagles, I think they have to be disappointed because they didn't get much back. Now, there were not a lot of offers from what we were hearing coming in. So it's not like they took a bad offer. I think they took pretty much the only offer because even the Bears they called, but they didn't make an offer. But I think Eagles fans might be a little bit disappointed because of how much was given up in the Stafford Goff trade. The Lions made out on that deal. They got a boatload of picks for that. They got there's 2 or 3 number 1 picks, I think, however that was. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles, Carson Wentz didn't get that kind of haul back. So I think the Eagles, not only that, but they have to be concerned because I don't know that they're counting on Jalen Hurts being their guy going forward. I mean, he showed signs to spark the team last year when they needed a spark, but I don't think he sees control of that job by any means. So I think of the two, the Colts fans probably have a little bit more to be happy about because if they get the quarterback that was progressing a couple years ago and he picks up there with Reich, then it's going to be success.
But yeah, I could tell you one thing though. Colts fans might be happy, but one particular Colts player, he said, "You know what? You're coming through, but I'm not budging on the number at all."
Keeping number 11.
Yep. Yeah. So, what was this? Michael Pittman. He said, "No, yeah. I'm keeping my number, player. You're gonna have to come up with something else." And I'm like, Wow, off rip.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna start the locker room and everything. But yeah.
If Brady would have got there, do you think he'd have said, "Nah, I'm married to this number. You're not having this"?
Nope. It would have been like, here you go, take it. It's whatever you want me to do. There's no problem. I'll buy you lunch or whatever needs to be done. Also, I think about this whole situation with the Colts is that it's a good situation for the Colts. I think the Colts fans are happy because they have one of the top tier offensive linemen in all of the National Football League. Not to mention you got a pretty good defense. Excuse me. They just need to upgrade at wide receiver. They need to upgrade at wide receiver. T.Y. Hilton has been kind of up and down the past few years. And you got the emergence of Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, there's some room for growth and development in that organization. But that offensive line, they didn't give up a whole lot. And they had Phillip Rivers last year at the helm, and he passed for over 4,000 yards. So just imagine what Carson Wentz can do with Frank Reich back in the saddle once again, this time as a coach and not only the offensive coordinator. And
I think they win the division next year as it stands now. I mean, I know a lot can happen, but I think that they're the favorite to win that division.
Yeah, it really puts them up there now. What you think, B-Live?
I think that I think it's an upgrade, but I will pump the brakes because there's a couple analysts out there that says this puts the Colts as front runners for the Super Bowl. I'm like,
negative.
No.
What?
No.
Negative on that.
Ooh, okay, but I want to put that out there because
who said that?
A couple analysts from that 4-letter network.
They just talk all day on the same subject. Somebody was bound to say that. When this deal happened last week, they talked about this for 8 hours straight that night and all day the next day. So I guess somebody was bound to say that makes them Super Bowl front runners, but they are not. I mean, not as long as Mahomes is in business. And like I said, the Bills are on the, they're on the uptick. The Browns are starting to look promising. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a stretch to say that, hey, they're the front runners for the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, stretch, reach. It's a little bit too much. Like I said, the defense is good. That offense is good. It'll be a definite upgrade with Carson Wentz. But as far
watch him go next year.
And then,
watch him go. We'll look stupid.
And then we'll be over here eating crow. I prefer my crow fried, gutted, and hold the feathers, please. And hold the feathers, please. And that about wraps it up for the NFL news and notes and the Carson Wentz situation. B-Live was never sold on Carson Wentz, but we gonna see what he does next year in the AFC South. A change of scenery might be good for Carson Wentz. Coming up next, we got fight nights. At the fights with the Sports Bros, we had a couple of fights this weekend. We had Adrian Broner versus Giovanni Santiago, and over in the UFC. We had Fight Night in Las Vegas. We had Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blaydes, and we are going to talk about the Broner versus Santiago fight. The outcome had a little bit of controversy. Broner was a winner. Or was he? People were confused, like, what's going on? Scotty D, you saw the fights. Can you tell us what the hell happened?
Yeah, Adrian Broner, this is his first fight since January, I think, of 2019. And that night, he lost to Manny Pacquiao in a fight that he barely threw any punches and still thought he won. Mm-hmm. This guy has had his share of problems out of the ring. So he's supposedly has a new attitude, mature side, and was going to come out gunning. And he was 0 for 12 landing punches in the first round. Now, the first 2 or 3 rounds, Broner and Santiago just kind of sparring out, feeling it out a little bit. But it really wasn't until about the 9th round that Broner came on. I think he won a couple rounds. I would say best case scenario, he won 5 rounds. Santiago won 6. And then there was 1 round that Santiago he won, but had a point deducted. But one of the judges had it like 117, 111, and that's outrageous. He clearly did not do enough to win this fight. He was outpunched by over 100 punches. He's the name. Adrian Broner is he's one of only like 4 guys to win titles in 4 different weight classes. I just think that the name carried a little bit of weight, but there's no way he won that fight. This just it's typical of boxing that this kind of stuff happens over and over and over again. You finally get a guy in the ring, it takes him forever, and when you get him in there, then the judging sucks. No, it's all, and that's why UFC is taking over.
Well, the punch count for that fight was 207 to 98.
Wow. Yes.
Like, you tell me
98 punches in 12 rounds? Come on. Now that wins you a fight?
I'm still trying to figure out how I land 100 plus more punches than my opponent, and then I lose.
And Be Live, the 98 punches they threw, he didn't never like put Santiago in trouble. He didn't knock him down. He had one puncher, Santiago's knees buckled and his glove almost hit the ground, but it did not. So it didn't count as a knockdown. And other than that, he was never in trouble. It wasn't like he had like a couple outstanding rounds where he was, taking it to the guy. No, it was never that.
Once again, I've said this countless amount of times. I want to hear post-fight interviews from the judges. I want you to explain to the general, because I think
tell me what you saw.
This is what has happened over the course of time with boxing. You have to be you almost have to be a analyst to get why some of these matches are scored the way they are scored. And it had been something like that. And I want transparency. I want you to explain to me why you thought that Broner won that fight, despite him being outpunched by that wide of a margin. So I don't know. That's why I was trying to get the fight because I want to be more informed about it. I'm catching highlights. I'm reading articles after the fact, and there's all of it leads to the fact that, like you said, Scotty D, Broner didn't win that fight. His name did.
Yeah, and he won it unanimously. And what's funny is, now I watched. This was heartbreaking. I watched the first 11 rounds, and at the beginning of the 12th round, my internet cut out, and I did not see the 12th round. So when the internet came back up, I went and I looked, and they said that Santiago decisively won the 12th round. Like, there was no question. He produced a lot more, volume of punches in the 12th. So that one was scored for him. That means that he had to win that just to. I mean, that means he was way behind. I mean, it's impossible to have seen the fight go that way. Broner was 0 for 12 in punches. 0 for 12. That's like a bad night of 3-point shooting in the NBA. He was 0 for 12 in the first round of throwing punches. He didn't win. He didn't. And if somebody scored him that one, if he won that first round, I'd love to know how you win a round in boxing without landing a punch. That's really impressive.
Yeah, I wound up catching some of the highlights of it, and I was like, he's barely touching him, and he's barely. Oh, and there was that one blow where he kind of staggered Santiago a little bit, but other than that, man, Santiago was in that. He hung with him all 12 rounds. He really didn't. I mean, Broner really didn't do anything to really like, hey, I got to put you on your back, got to put you on your ass. He really didn't do anything like convincing, like, oh, Adrian Broner. No. Like, they danced and they did the bare minimum. They did what they could, I guess. And yeah, it's a classic case of one of those fights being popular due to name recognition. So I was like, I don't know about this.
Adrian Broner fights are boring. He doesn't throw enough volume of punches. This is like the third or fourth time I've watched Broner fight, and his fights are always like that. And he always thinks he wins. It's amazing. He doesn't throw punches, and he's mad when he doesn't win.
Well, Scotty D, this is where I thoroughly enjoy the interwebs and the power of Google, because I have just stumbled on the official scorecard of the fight, and 2 of the 3 judges gave Adrian Broner the first round.
Impossible. It's unbelievable.
Go figure.
Unbelievable.
I was you know what? I'm gonna try it out. I kid you not. 2 of the 3 judges. You have Tom Carson, Peter Harry, and Glenn Feldman. Tom and Peter both gave the first round to Adrian Broner.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable. I was frustrated watching that first round, and the announcers were frustrated because they said, well, this Broner fight starting off just like his last couple. He doesn't look like he said he's going to be different, and he doesn't look different. And they said that for like 7 rounds. Now, I think he won the second. I remember thinking, okay, after 2 rounds, this is even. And then he just enough. Let's talk about UFC because those guys were throwing punches the other night.
Yes, they were throwing punches. We had UFC fight night, and it was a good one. It was a good one. I wound up catching the tail end of the Derek Lewis and Curtis Blaydes fight. It was in Las Vegas, Nevada, of course. And Derek Lewis, he wins the fight via KO/TKO in the second round, 1 minute and 26 seconds in. Man, Derek Lewis is over here like, look, I ain't getting paid by the hour. I'm getting paid, so let me go ahead and make light work of Curtis Blaydes. Scotty D, what'd you take away from this fight?
Last week when I was talking about this fight, I said Curtis Blaydes will win this fight because he's not going to be dumb enough to stand there and try to brawl with Derek Lewis. He's going to want to take him down early and often and ground and pound, and it'll probably be a boring fight. And the first round, he kind of didn't really. It was kind of a feeling out round. And in the second round, he actually went for the takedown, and boom, he didn't come up for air. Boy, he got thumped. And then he was out cold before he hit the ground, and the Black Beast gave him 2 just for the heck of it once he was down and out. And afterwards, he said, I wasn't worried about anything else but trying to land that punch, pretty much, is what he said. He said, I was looking for that one. We knew he was going to want to shoot on me. We knew he wanted to take me down. It was like the perfect punch. You could just see his body go limp whenever he hit him. So that takes Curtis Blaydes out of the championship picture for the time being.
Yeah, that's the end of that for Curtis Blaydes, man. I was like, oh, man, come on, man. You let him do that to you? What you got to say about that, B-Live?
Well, it sounds like that the Lewis camp was listening to our podcast because Sky D predicted that he was going to try to ground and wrestle, and he tried it and failed miserably. He had a shimmy going down after he got hit with that one. Oh man, so that it's one of those things. I didn't get a chance to catch many highlights on this. I was actually watching another boxing match that took place Saturday, which you literally, I believe, saw the knockout of the year.
Yeah.
But Valdez and how you pronounce that dude named Burchelt, I believe. Burchelt. Either way, he was like laid out. He was literally not moving for a good 5 minutes on the mat. Like, it was scary how hard he got hit.
He collapsed like in sections. Like if you're like imploding a house and sections falling out. He collapsed in sections. It was brutal.
Yeah, I was like, "Ooh, that's
it was one of those things when he got hit. I was like, "Ooh!" and then I had to pause myself from celebrating and talking trash because I was legit afraid of Burkelt's condition. Like, he was definitely concussed. His brains was mush. It was not a good situation. But now that's my fight night. So that's what I was watching.
Well, I wanted to point out one other thing that kind of caught my eye on Saturday night is Andre Arlovski. He's been around the heavyweight game in the UFC forever. He's had a couple good fights lately. He fought a young guy from England named Tom Aspinall. And this young heavyweight Aspinall, he looks like he could be the real deal kind of guy coming up through. It's not so much he's heavy-handed, but he's a smart fighter, and he submitted Arlovski. Too soon to put him in any kind of title contention at this point. Actually, the next title shot is going to go to John Jones after the fight between Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic. That's coming up. John Jones is going to get the winner of that one. Looks like Derek Lewis has his sights set on Alistair Overeem, or the Russian who he knocked out a couple years ago in a rematch. His name escapes me for the moment, but that's what seems like where we're headed in the heavyweight division. But and a good one coming up here in a couple weeks is Erzurul Adesanya is moving up a weight, going after Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight championship. So always entertaining for the UFC. Actually, the UFC the other night, there was a couple fights that I thought were just, they get some of these fights when they go into ground and pound get a little boring. And there was a couple the other night I thought, these fights are a little bit boring tonight. And then the main event's going to be boring. And then it was completely not. Derek Lewis just KO'd Curtis Blaydes. So congratulations to the Black Beast. That's that.
Derek Lewis, he's the beast. And Derek Lewis is great for the UFC and MMA. Not only what he does in the octagon, but also his post-match press conference. That is definitely some must-see stuff. What we'll do on our Facebook page, we'll post the post-fight interview. Hilarious. He was like, "Yeah, I got $50,000. I'm gonna just save my money. I don't really want to fight 5 rounds. I just want, I just want Overeem in 3 rounds, because if I try to fight for 5 rounds, my body gonna lock up. Like, it's gonna be time for you to retire and time for you to hang it up." So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see what's next for the one, the only, the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. All right, fellas, going on to the NBA. As we know, Anthony.
Before we continue, because I know Scotty D was alluding to Alexander Volkov.
Okay, Alexander Volkov.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So I just want to throw that in there before we talk some NBA. But Eddy Kool, your show, handle it.
Yes, appreciate it, B-Live. See, we got our own live research department. Hey, B-Live coming in clutch, finding out the name of that opponent. As I said before, NBA news, we're going to slide right into it. We're going to talk about Anthony Davis, his injury, and the LA Lakers. AD will miss 4 weeks with a calf strain. Yes, with a calf strain. And fellas, I'm going to start with you, B-Live. Who will be the next man up for the purple and gold?
Here's the situation. I actually watched a couple debate shows about the situation with LA and who's going to be able to step up, and is it good for the Lakers or bad for the Lakers? And what we're already seeing right now is one thing that I'm seeing clear cut as day is that LeBron James is trying to find somebody to step up, and nobody's doing it. And so LeBron being passive as opposed to being aggressive in some of these games is leaving the Lakers very vulnerable. Will they figure it out at some point in time? That's left to be said. I'm not sure. But the way they played the last 2 games against the Nets, like the Nets didn't have Kevin Durant. So it was almost a balance of like talent, but then that just shows that Kyrie Irving and James Harden, they're dangerous without Kevin Durant. The Nets are going to be extremely dangerous if they have a healthy squad. With that being said, Anthony Davis being out with a calf strain, they also said that it was a strain in his Achilles as well. There was Achilles. I could tell you as a basketball player, that's one thing that is very hard to recover from. Basically what I'm saying is that I don't see Anthony Davis being 100%, which is going to leave the Lakers I still think it's going to be at a disadvantage unless LeBron James literally takes the team on his shoulders and wills them to wins and everything. They'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll make a deep run. I really like what Utah's doing. I like what Denver's doing. I like what Portland's doing. So, I mean, it's one of those things where, the West is just going to be too tough for LeBron to carry it on his own. And it's clear as day, it ain't going to be Caruso. Good Lord. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn the other day. And LeBron kept throwing the ball to him, keep trying to shoot. He was like 0 for everything I think he may have gotten one made shot at some point in time that last game against the Nets. But yeah, I don't know. That too soon to tell who's going to step up but LeBron can't be passive at this point in time. He's just really got to take on the mantle.
Scotty D, what's going on with your Lakers?
Didn't Schroeder miss the other night with injury too, though? Wasn't he out as well in the Nets game? I think Schroeder's been missing a couple games.
I believe so, but I still haven't seen him establish himself as a key player on the Lakers. So I think the jury's still out on him.
It is, but he was starting to gel with AD and LeBron a few weeks back, I thought. But again, the season is, even though it's a shorter season, it's still early. Anthony Davis is never going to be 100%. He wasn't 100% last year in the finals. He's always going to be hurt in some way. That was my biggest concern when they made the deal to get him in the first place. He's always had injury problems, and he probably always will. Guys that are built like him, that big, tall frame like that, have tendency to get injured. So if they limp into the playoffs, that might be all they really need. If they fall to like a 2, 3, 4 seed even, I think once they get there, they'll handle their business and make a deep playoff run. But LeBron's going after the MVP award like gangbusters, if you ask me. He's not taking nights off. He's not taking plays off. He's turning the ball over a lot, but he's playing his tail off, trying to drag that team to as many wins as he can until AD gets back. I don't know. I still think, they're still trying to gel a little bit. They got a Marc Gasol in there now, and he's another one of these 7-footers that likes to shoot threes. That frustrates me out of my mind. I don't know. A little bit early. I still think it's too early to be panicked as a Laker fan.
Yeah, I saw Kyle Kuzma showed up for a little bit in the first quarter of the game.
He needs to step up. Yeah, he's a guy that needs to step up.
Yeah. That's a guy. If you ask that question about who needs to step up, I would say it needs to be Kyle Kuzma, the one that needs to step up.
I agree. And I think, Eddie, he's still a little bit intimidated by LeBron because he was much more aggressive pre-LeBron.
Yeah, you got to be better than that. Kuz, come on, Kuz. Let's get it, Kuz. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, he's that playing with LeBron. That was one of the main concerns when I thought when LeBron inked the deal with the Lakers a few years ago. I'm like, will guys play with them or will they be intimidated?
Yeah. And I think he lost. I think sometimes he's afraid to be aggressive and take the shots himself and go to the rim himself. And he has it in him. I've seen it.
It's there.
Quick question while we're here, because maybe I missed the memo. Who's the point guard for the Lakers? Or is LeBron?
LeBron.
Pretty much LeBron.
Yeah, he's doing every damn thing. It's his show.
Caruso handles when he comes in. He's a bench player. Caldwell Pope seems to, spot up in the corner. He's not really the ball handler. It's LeBron, really.
Here's something else that I don't know if you guys saw it, but I saw it, and maybe nobody else will admit it. But the past couple of games, LeBron James has looked tired at the end of games. He'll dribble past half court and he's looking for somebody else to get the ball. Like, he does not have that drive or that killer instinct that you would think he would need to have late in games, especially in close games. Maybe I'm overseeing it. Maybe I'm delirious. I don't know. That's what I see.
You could be delirious. You could be.
But I'm just saying, nobody else sees it. If nobody else
sees it. Honestly, I'm not watching the games as closely right now as I have in the past. And part of that's because the league played so late. And so he might be tired. He didn't have as much time, to get ready as he ordinarily would. He didn't get the summer off. Well, actually, he did get the summer off. But you know what I'm saying? He didn't have the end of the season to preseason time off that he ordinarily does. And he doesn't do load management. He plays every night. He's out there every night. He doesn't take nights off like Kawhi Leonard and Durant and some of the other guys. And how did Kyrie Irving get voted an all-star starter? He don't even play. He took like a personal sabbatical or something, and he got voted into the All-Star game. It must have been Dominion voting. I don't know how he got into the All-Star game.
Oh boy.
I don't know how he got voted in. I don't know.
You know those all-star games, man. They're a popularity contest, man. You know how that rolls. It's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like you. We gonna like you. We all like you. So therefore, you gonna start. So it's a popularity contest.
It just makes me real nervous. Are there really that many people out there that are flat earthers? I'm just saying.
That's a weird dude. He's a weird dude, man.
Kyrie is an outstanding ball player without question. He is an all-star. He's one of the top players in the league. But the way he started out this season and just said, you know what, I'm just going to literally disappear, and the fans still love him and vote him in he wouldn't have got my vote this year.
No,
he's doing great, but he wouldn't have got my vote this year just because of his just the way. How do you disappear? But then again, also these are the same fans that put Luka in the All-Star game over Dame Dollar.
Yeah.
And if anybody that knows anything about basketball right now, Dame Dollar is having a far better season than Luka is. I really think that's just name. If you would think Dame Dollar's got the name brand recognition.
It's Dame time, baby. Dame time.
I mean, but so it's fan voting. It's fan voting. Even the players are like, I think Luka actually came out and said, I don't know why I got voted. I think Luka even admitted that.
I think he did too.
So, but that's what the All-Star game is all about. It is for the fans of voting and everything like that. And of course, because of COVID-19 and the city of Atlanta, they don't even want the fans there. So
what's the what's the purpose? Like what's the purpose of having the All-Star game in a place like Atlanta, and then people can't even participate in the festivities? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think they're doing like the 3-point contest and the dunk contest during halftime.
All in the same night. There's no weekend event. It's all going to be the same night, and I just think almost to the point of, you know what, let's take this year off. The NFL said no Pro Bowl. You know what, we really don't.
They should just scrap it. Give them a couple days off.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. That's the best thing to do until the world gets back to normal. Because what's the purpose of watching an All-Star game when you can't enjoy Friday, Saturday, and then the game on Sunday? It's just it just ain't.
The All-Star game itself is always the worst part of the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Except for last year, not the year before, where they changed the format. I like that new format. It made it competitive. I can't remember the exact format design, but I do remember that they ended up the first team to 157 points, which again showed no defense. But it was something about the concept that it was back and forth. Like they made it real competitive. So I did like that part. But I really this year scrap it. Let's come back in 2022. And figure it out from there.
Okay.
Yep. That'll be what we do, and we'll figure it out from there. But guess what, fellas?
What's up, Eddy Kool?
What is it?
I'm glad you guys asked. Well, I asked. I'm glad you guys answered the question. It's time once again for our favorite part of the show.
What is that, sir?
The choices of the voices. And with that being said, hey, yo, Button, hit it.